Hello and welcome. I am Bianca, and I am going to talk to you today about the connection that I had last week, some of the information that I brought through when channeling, and I'm going to bring that into 5 or 6 key themes that I believe are going to help us to navigate the way forward, particularly throughout September, as things might feel a little unsettled. So, around about a week ago, I brought through some guidance from two galactic beings. The first was the Pleiadians and the Lyrans, and they kind of came through and communicated with me in unison. And it was really beautiful. Anyone that knows me and has seen me channeling, I often channel the Galactic Federation, but that's not the only connection I have. So these particular beings were not necessarily or didn't communicate any association with that, but they did communicate with me that they were Pleiadian and that they were Lyran beings. So in that interaction, it was something I was channeling for myself, but actually a lot of guidance that came through that is really applicable to all of us. And I felt it was a really great place to start and share with you around what can we expect and how can we navigate what essentially many people are calling the shift. That's what I am being shown as well. So a lot of the guidance that I'm bringing through right now, and actually I looked back to the first time I was bringing through guidance from these galactic beings over a year ago. There was this discussion of this shift turning point in our evolution as humans. And I am being communicated that that is happening now. We are right in the middle of it. They have spoken to me about this being a peak experience. So we can expect a lot of noise out there, a lot of distractions, because ultimately this is a very, very unusual time. And so what I wanted to share here with this is some top tips, essentially, or some key guidance to really help you to navigate this moment. So the 5 or 6 pieces of guidance that I got, the first one is, this is an acceleration phase. So we are in an acceleration phase. So this is about the fact that it might feel to you like time is speeding up. And I'd love to know if that resonates for you. Like, it feels like there's an acceleration of time. Things are almost, time is like collapsing. It feels like things are getting very, very fast. And there's a lot of movement in terms of perhaps your personal experiences or what's going on in the outside world. And I'm being shown and I was communicated that we might expect that to really ramp up in the next few weeks for a period of time. It's going to feel an accelerated phase. So that was the first point, and this is what they speak to me about, the peak in the experience. So right now we're in the peak of the experience, which means we are in the accelerated phase. So that was the first thing I want to speak to. Secondly, they talk to me about the individual versus collective responsibility. Now, I really wanted to cover this because I think this is really interesting. And if you are watching any of my channeled guidance that I'm bringing through and sharing, or if you want to subscribe to this channel, if you want to hear more of what I'm bringing forward, there will be discussion of this. And I think sometimes it sounds really easy when I communicate it direct through my channel, because the galactic guidance comes through very directly. It speaks to how simple that might be to create the change from within us. This is what is communicated to me. See that change, you are the change, and then that change will be shown to you in external environments. So that sounds really simple, but it's actually quite complex. When you're here in this current experience and you are just navigating that is not as simple perhaps as what it sounds. But what I can share is that the very clear guidance I'm getting is the way through to this higher, more ascended timeline is through the self. And that is really important. So it's really coming back to you. It's really grounding in yourself, your own experiences and your own evolution. And when you do that, that's how you create the change. Now, there can be a real tendency for us to want to look outside of ourselves because we're human. And ultimately, sometimes things outside of us do feel frustrating. Like, there might be certain family members or friends or people around you in your life that perhaps don't display the experience that you want to be happening, you want to see. But the communication I get very clearly is let go of that, let go of what's going on around you and come back to the self. Like, be less concerned about other people's timelines, because ultimately they share with me, we're all going. We're all going, and we're all on different timelines to that. So focus on yourself, focus on your own timeline, and don't get distracted by all of the chaos and things going on outside of you, whether that's people or governments or whatever you want that might be distracting. Come back to the self. So the way through, the way to the higher timelines for each one of us is through the self. And then they also communicate that when we move, we bring others with us. So we lead through ourselves. So I think that's a really important part. And yeah, they also talked about the uncomfortable, getting kind of comfortable with being uncomfortable, or uncomfortable certainty. It was kind of worded to me like that, which is kind of unhelpful in some ways. But what they were sharing with me is it can feel really confusing, because we're moving to a time where, you know, we're being asked to trust more, and that the logical way of being, the logical ways of our existence that we've had up till now, that have always kind of worked for us, are no longer going to work in this new timeline. We will need to operate more from the heart center, more from our inner wisdom, more from the guidance and the synchronicities that we see in the world. And that will guide our path forward, less than being totally logical. Now, I'm not saying there's no place for logic, because there is, but it will be much more, we'll need to operate from a place of more flow and intuition. We will need to trust the universe, that things are unfolding in the right way for us. And if you're seeing a crumbling and a collapsing, and things in your environment and experience falling away, it's really important to come back to yourself and ask, actually, what is this about? So my personal advice here on this is just coming back to you, coming back to yourself in that moment, and asking, what is falling away? If it's, for example, in a work scenario, is that falling away because maybe I'm ready for something new? Perhaps the new version of you that's emerging at this time, and this is a big moment of that for all of us, and I can feel that in my own self. What's emerging will be better. So allow those things that are not serving you to fall away, because what my guides say very clearly is we can't take them with us. It's not possible to take them with us. And if we cling too much, we're just slowing ourselves down from the timeline that we are really deep down choosing to be part of. So you're just really getting uncomfortable with that level of discomfort, getting comfortable with the level of discomfort, which is really important, and really letting go of the resistance to what's happening. There might be some things in your external experience that are showing you where there are places for you to, revisit, perhaps some shadow stuff that you can look at. But ultimately, in order to shift, in order to elevate, in order to, really come into alignment with that higher timeline, it is necessary for certain things to go. And that will be true of each and one of us in our, each single one of us in our individual experiences, but it will also be the same for the collective experience. So we might be seeing certain things crumbling down, or falling away, but change has to come through that process. To see the new emerge, we need to release and get rid of the old, allow the old to leave. So really, in those moments, coming back to yourself. And that's the next point. It's number 4, is remember your natural state of being. Like, your natural state of being is in joy, in comfort, in love, and all of those emotions that sometimes sound a bit lofty, but that is the truth of where you're heading. So all of us are heading to these higher timelines where that becomes our natural state. So when we feel like the outside world gets a lot, and it will, and we're not expected to just walk through this without having any emotion. Absolutely, we should feel all of those emotions, but coming then back to ourselves, grounded, finding the things that fill you with joy, fill you with, that natural state. So it might be walking, it might be going out and spending some time, on a beach or in a place that makes you feel really good. It might be dancing. Like, for me, dancing is everything. If I need to shift some emotion, to dance is like the number one way. And it's just, putting on some fun music in the kitchen. And I've got young kids, and getting them involved is always brilliant. But spending time with your kids as well. Kids, like, they can really help you to elevate when things are feeling tough. So get into that space and hold on to the vision of what you are here to create. Get into the vision of the new world that you want to see and focus more on that than what you're seeing as the distractions playing out. So that's the advice. Get into that naturally high state of being, not artificially by like ego bossing your way through, literally by allowing yourself to feel joy, and to do that, find the things that bring you joy, even if it's just pockets and windows in your day. And then 5, and I love this one, it's be patient with your human. Now that's a piece of guidance that I get all the time, and that is because I am really impatient in my human. And that is, I'm really impatient, and I also don't give my human a lot of grace. So sometimes I can see where I'm going. My connection with my guides is very strong. I'm shown it, I follow and I lead, but it pushes my human into places that are so uncomfortable that there are times where I just need to come back and give her a little bit of space. So that's the next point, is like really coming back to yourself. And I've spoken about this already, but actually just recognizing this is a totally new paradigm we're moving into. Things are going to be different from what they look like now, and that discomfort that your human is now feeling is real. So, and the mind can take over. But my guide said to me in the most recent channeling for my own self, the guidance that I can't forget is, they say, this is not the time to let your mind lead. Lead from the heart, not the mind. Lead yourself through your heart, not your mind. So I think it's coming back to that all the time, and just allowing your human to kind of catch up with you, because your human, your ego wants to keep you safe. That's the role it's been playing for most of your life. But when we're operating from a higher elevated self, that can feel really, really stretchy for your human. So giving your human that space to catch up. And then the final thing I want to say, and this is the 6th piece of guidance that came through, is you choose the timeline. You choose the timeline. So let's get more intentional about this. And, ultimately it is about flow and it's about trust, but we're always co-creating. It's always a co-creation. So you will experience what you're ready for. So if you are ready to claim a higher experience, then claim it out loud. Claim it right now. Claim it out loudly to the universe, so that the universe understands you are ready. And if you are presented with an opportunity that perhaps would normally kind of throw you off, ask yourself, are you ready to make some different choices so that you can make the moves you really want to move? You can see the world that you really want to see, and you can create the new earth for yourself and externally that you really, really want to live in. And that is how we do it. We come back to ourselves, we lead with the heart, and we're not afraid to take leaps when we know they're in alignment with what we're really here to do. So I hope this has been helpful, and I am going to be back on sharing more of these tips as I bring through collective channeled guidance, as I bring through my own experiences, and then I'll bring these short videos on to talk you through how we can apply that guidance to our lives. So if you love this, subscribe, and I'd love to know if there's anything else you'd like to hear from me. Please comment below.